Well, hello, and welcome to another of the series of videos on the Business Partner software. Today we're going to be dealing with the defaults area, and within this defaults area we're going to deal with the default terms and conditions. So this section here, and there'll be videos to follow dealing with default markups, materials, hardware, letters, and then the cabinet specs. And heights and linear footage here below. But today we're going to deal with or in this video we're going to deal with default terms. And within the default terms you see here a list of terms, and you can have as many of these as you want. And each of these terms contains the conditions of those terms, and you create these terms yourselves. I would recommend that you use the duplicate button if you decide to create a new set of terms as opposed to new terms button. But you could use this button here and it'll start with a blank set, and you've got to type out everything to create those terms. It is easier if you open a set of terms. So I'm going to take my most common set of terms here for illustration purposes, and that would be that our clients would pay a 50% deposit and then a 40% second payment and a 10% at the end. And as you see here, we have two that are very similar. The 50-40-10 prior means that the 40% is due prior to delivery, and in the case of 50-40-10 upon means that 40% is due upon completion. All of these terms can be anything you want them to be. Basically, we're just creating a net payment as opposed to multiple payment terms. And in multiple payment terms are something similar to the 50-40-10, 50-25-25, however you want to structure that. And the net terms or single payment terms, typically they would be, as you see here, 5% 10 days net 30, 5% 5 days net 30. Up here we see some 2% 10 days net 30, 2% 5 days net 30. So again, you can create any set of terms you want and customize them to any level you want. For illustration purposes, we're going to use this 50-40-10 prior. So I'm just going to open this set of terms, and this is typed text that you type. So this set of terms was created, these were blank, and we came in here and decided to name this set of terms 50-40-10 prior. And then we came in and entered the percentage of the first payment, 50%. Then we entered the percentage of the second payment, 40%. And this is a 3-payment set of terms. So the first would be 50-40, and then the balance will be 10, and it calculates the balance from the first two. And then you enter the percentages, and then you enter a description for each of these payments. So in this case, a 50% deposit required to place job in a production schedule. I think that's important, that be based on placing it in the production schedule, not to start the job. Too many people make their 50% deposit contingent on starting the job. And in that case, people are encouraged to wait till the very last minute to make the deposit, and if for some reason they decide to pull your plug, pull the job from you and give it to someone else, you won't know that in time to be able to recover and find another project. So based on your current schedule, if you're booked out 3 months, then basically they've got to pay you that 50% deposit 3 months in advance. Just whenever you come to the agreement that they want you to do the job, they need to go ahead and pay that 50% deposit to reserve their place in your production schedule. Obviously, you can do this any way you see fit. This is just something that I've found to be very valuable for my business, just to base it on placing the job into the production schedule. And then the 40% can be due at any point you see fit. You know, maybe when you order some people would say when they order the doors, or when the doors arrive, if they're outsourcing the doors. Some people at delivery. Some people would make this 50-50, 50% due to start the job or put it into production schedule, and then 50% due at delivery or even after completion. I think that your cash flow would suffer at a 50% at completion. This is kind of the ideal terms, that we get 50% up front, so we have a set of terms that commit the client to the project. They've got enough money invested that they're not going to walk away from it. And then here, the 40% due prior to delivery would basically get you 90% of your money prior to them having any product on the job site. So it'd be pretty tough to beat you out of anything other than the 10% in these terms, outside of some very unusual circumstances. And then the 10% balance due upon completion. And you could make that say 10% balance due upon reasonable completion, and then spell that out in the conditions of your estimate or proposal. So those are up to you. And as you're typing these items here, it's creating what the client is going to see in the terms portion of your contracts, your estimates and your proposals. So in this case, what we've entered up here is here. We have the option, if we want for it to read differently, we can come down here and optionally override this text and make it read any way we want. And then we have a notes field down here for the purpose of this set of terms and conditions. Maybe if you need to clarify to your employees or to others that may be using the business partner software what these terms are, how they're to be used, and with what type of client they're to be used. For each set of terms, again, if we go back up here to list all, we see all of these terms listed. For each one of these, there is a set of conditions for the estimate and the proposal. And there is a lot of confusion with these throughout the history of the business partner. People have wondered why they couldn't get some of the terminology in their contracts to change, and that's because we don't do anything retroactively. But if you come to here to the estimate conditions of your terms, the terms being 50, 40, 10 prior, then here are the conditions of those terms. And this can be anything that your lawyer or your legal advisor tells you to put in here. We think this is a pretty good starting point, but we certainly don't think this is the best of the best or anything like that. Certainly you need to consult with your legal advisor on how your conditions should be phrased. We think this is keeping it fairly short and sweet, but also covering our butts in the case of someone trying not to pay us. Here you see the reference to our company, True32 Custom Cabinetry, and it can be one or two or three times throughout these conditions. And when someone buys the business partner, obviously they get a copy of the conditions that I've entered, so it's going to say True32 Custom Cabinetry. If you come in here and change this from and you can just type in these fields. This is just like a word processor. You can type anything you want. But if you come in here and change these fields, and then go to a job that you've already created and expect to print that estimate or proposal and for those conditions to be changed, that is incorrect. Again, that would be retroactively changing those, and we wouldn't want to do that. You may want to make these changes specific to a job, so we make you re-choose these conditions, and I'll show you how to do that in just a moment, to be able to actually reflect in existing estimates and proposals. But this page here is specific to, and you can see how the text here is a little bit bolder than the text for terms and proposals, which means we're looking at the estimate conditions, and then up top the page reflects that we're looking at the estimate conditions. And again, you can type anything you want. You don't have to save. Once you're done, you're done. In a database program, it saves as you go. And then also for the proposal, these are the conditions for the proposal. Certainly longer and a little more legally binding, because at this point, at the estimate, we really haven't done anything but ask them to commit to maybe a design fee or to the process, to some portion of the process, but we haven't asked them in an estimate to commit to the project. At the proposal level, we're asking them to commit to the project. So here we see the conditions for those, and again, throughout these conditions, we'll see the reference in this case right here. True32 Custom Cabinetry is referred to, and if we wanted to change that to our company name, we just back that out and change it. It's that simple. Now, where all of this actually plays out is, I'm going to go back to the main menu, and then I'm going to go to Reports, and I'm going to, at this point, we'll go through how all these reports work in a later video, but I want to print a quick report and review it for you, so that we can see where these things come out at. So we're going to preview this and not print it. So all we're going to see it on the screen, and we don't need a print dialog box because we're just going to preview it. So I'm going to say print report, and this one's going to be a proposal since that one has the longer conditions. And then we're going to pick our project, the sample job, Chapman Lot 114, and keep this simple. I'm going to go ahead and just do the kitchen only. And this will process that proposal for that kitchen, list everything out, all the items, and again, depending on what you choose in your print dialog, what you want to see, how detailed these reports are. This is going to be a fairly detailed report, and we'll be able to view each one of the pages independently, and then we'll be able to see this proposal. Okay, here's our kind of an intermediary screen that's basically asking us to confirm anything that we've done up to this point. So in this case, we've said that we're only going to go to this project one time as far as a delivery trip goes, and that we have a delivery rate of, in this case, this is an older project, of 8610. Because it's a sample project that's been in the business partner for many years. And it was 18 miles to the project, and with a delivery rate of $2.05 per mile and a delivery rate of $5.13 per box. Again, these are older rates because it's a sample job that's been in here a while. But basically, these are things you entered for the job early on, and it's saying, is it still true? If they added an entertainment center to the project somewhere along the line, or a few extra baths, or maybe an extra room, laundry or something, maybe you need to reevaluate and say, well, now it's 2 trips or 3 trips. Maybe it's 1 more trip than it was. Maybe you need to come down here and entered your design fee collected, or maybe you had it entered in the proposal, but they decided to round up to $1,200 instead of paying what your conditions said. But that's what this screen is for you to review these things and make sure they're correct, and to be able to make a change on the fly. If you change the trip quantity here, it will change the trip quantity on the job info page, and every time you go to print a report from this point forward, it will be 2 or 3 or whatever you've changed it to. So this page actually does change it for the job, not just for this print project. So let's go ahead and continue. And now we see here that we have a proposal. The proposal is listed here at the top. The proposal and estimate are identical other than this caption here. Everything else is identical. And we see the details for this particular proposal, all the details for the rooms, and that's not what we're really looking at this time. I really want to get to the conditions portion of this, so I'm going to continue. This being the itemized list report showing each item and its cost. And here we have the terms that we've been discussing. So we see here that the terms came out exactly as we had typed them. 5% discount may be taken if this invoice is paid within 10 days of delivery, net 30 days. Actually, this one has a different set of terms than the terms we were looking at, but these were the terms for this particular job. So here's the terms for this job, and we see the conditions of those terms. So had we changed this from True 32 Custom Cabinetry, and in this case this the current user is set at Lynch Cabinet Shop. I use this particular program to rename it for each person's company information. So we've got Lynch Cabinet Shop information up here. If Mr. Lynch wanted to change this from True 32 Custom Cabinetry to Lynch Cabinet Shop, then he would need to go in and reselect these terms for that to happen. And that's the case of all of the conditions, estimates, and proposals have to be reselected at the job level for that to happen. So I'm going to show you how to do that now real quick. I'm also going to reselect these terms before we reprint, so you can see how that the conditions portion of this contract would change for this particular job. So I'm going to go back into this particular job, Chapman, lot 114. And I'm going to go to the terms for this job, and instead of them being this 5% discount, I'm going to choose those terms we were looking at earlier, which was 50, 40, 10 prior. So now I've chosen new terms for this particular project. Again, I haven't changed the conditions, so the text is still going to say True 32 Custom Cabinetry. To change that, I would need to go back to the defaults, go to my default terms, go to for that particular set of terms, because those conditions can be unique to each set of terms. So I would need to come back to this 50, 40, 10 prior, and then I would need to go into the estimate or proposal, in this case the proposal, and I'm only going to change just this one case of it here and just say that this is Lynch Cabinet Shop. And there's several other instances to this, but I'm not going to show it. I just want to show you how this works. So I don't have to save it. All I'm going to do is go back to the main menu, and I'm going to go to my reports again. And this time, I'm not going to reselect those terms for that job. I'm just going to go straight to print reports. I'm going to go to Chapman, lot 114, As a matter of fact, I'm going to change to the butler's pantry since it's smaller and it will calculate quicker. All right, here we have that intermediary screen again asking us if we want to change any of this. We're going to say continue. And we're going to go past these reports here, straight to the conditions. And now we see, because we changed the terms for this particular project, that we have a 50% deposit required instead of the net terms. Now we have a 3 payment terms, but we see that the name didn't change. It still says True 32 Custom Cabinetry here. So let me show you how that works. Again, we don't change it retroactively. Okay, we're back to the external reports page. I'm going to go to main menu, and I'm going to go to the job itself, and I'm going to go to the Chapman Lot 114 job. And under the terms, ideally you could just pick another set of terms, but if you're picking the same terms over again, it's better to go to another set of terms and conditions and then reselect the correct ones. If you're going to another set, all you have to do is pick that other set. But if you're going to this, you're trying to reload an existing set. In other words, in this case, we made a change to 50/40/10 after we had chosen it for this project, and because of that, it didn't reflect that change. So we went in just now and reselected those same terms, and now they have those new conditions. So I'm going to go to reports again, and I'm going to go print reports, and I'm going to choose our Chapman job and the butler's pantry only, and I'm going to continue. Here we come to our intermediary screen, and we're going to ignore that and continue. And here now we see that it says Lynch Cabinet Shop. So again, it doesn't change it retroactively. We have to go reselect the terms for the conditions to be loaded. And had we changed all of the instances of True 32 Custom Cabinetry, obviously that would have taken place here and anywhere else that there's a True 32 Custom Cabinetry instance in this text. So hopefully that's helpful. That is terms and conditions. Next we'll be looking at markups that are also part of the defaults, and then materials, then hardware, then the letters, and then we'll look at our cabinet specifications. So thanks for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye.